My wife wants to
I
see
didn't.
it, so I might end up seeing it in the theater. But other than that, that's probably about it.
She's gonna
Oh,
threaten you with that hammer.
She might. Shit, she crazy. Mm.
man, welcome back, or welcome for the first time. We have another great week. We have another great panel. We got QP the Source. What's going on, good man?
Hey man, everything is great. I'm tired this week, but it's a good week in the multiverse.
Awesome. That's good. Good news, Tasha. More good news. You're back. How are you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling good. Thank you.
Good. It's good
Um,
to see your smiling face again. Mike Jones, what's up, man?
Man, what's going on? Uh,
Chilling. My
Everything
mutant
is
brother.
good. I'm back in school. You know, that's kicking my ass, but I'm doing
Was weather mild out your way, out east, as it was out here in the west?
today.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't that bad today.
yeah.
It
It
was,
it got up to like 70 today, which was our high. I was loving it.
not sure how
So
hot it got, but it didn't get hot at all. It was pretty cool. I had a jacket
yeah.
on, so yeah, it wasn't that bad.
What? It
I
gets
mean,
colder in higher altitudes with your tall ass.
nah, the AC was still on at my job, and I was like, man, this is everybody else is walking around just feeling good. I was kind of cold, so
I dig it. Rob, that one guy. How's it going?
Doing well. Got one
I
more
like.
day and then I'm on vacation.
Oh yeah, Minnesota, right?
Yeah, going to Minneapolis.
I like the new backdrop. I love all the memo behind you. That's beautiful. Even though it's hot in that room, from what you say.
Yeah, it's very hot in here.
It's all right. Oh man, but I'm doing great. Everybody's doing great. Welcome back, listeners. We got some great stuff for you this week. We're going to start off with Dwayne the Rock Johnson running that multi-million dollar mouth, talking about what was he fought to keep Black Adam and Shazam separate. And what else did he say? Like, what was the other thing? The Justice League and Avengers would be $1 billion movie.
yeah, the Marvel and DC crossover would be a big money, like yeah, a big event, which is
Duh.
yeah, I think it's been mentioned before. We love The Rock. Excited for him in this role, and I go to see most of his movies. I just need him to I'm starting to just roll my eyes now when I see an article with his name on it. Like I get the enthusiasm and everything, and I hope he backs it up, but I just need to just bring it down just a little bit. But I'm,
Pump the
I'm
brakes,
hoping
cheerleader.
I need him to. I want him to be successful. I want this whole thing, but just the what he said about getting Zach Levine the role and everything. I was kind of confused about that, and I don't know how much truth there is to that. I mean, there's no need for him to lie, but not everything needs to be publicized or put out in the open. But I'm excited. You know, I'm tagging Rob in everything he says now, just to just to make him upset too. So just so he
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah,
in case
I
he missed
noticed
it.
all that. I mean, it's easy for him being the self-appointing himself the DC hype man now, but most of everything he's saying is either obvious or after the fact. Yeah, it's easy to say after the fact that he pushed for Black Adam and Shazam and Zachary Levi to have his own movie, but we unless he's appointed DC's DCEU creative director or his movie is like tops the charts, the best movie
Yeah.
that's ever made that makes the most money, then he's just doing his Rock thing. He's going back to his wrestling days of being the hype man, doing the
Yeah.
promos.
I agree. You know what? I want him to be this loud in the second week in November, maybe the third week in November, a month after his movie comes out. Be this loud. I love Dwayne. He is the most electrifying man in show business right now. just keep talking. I mean, he's great. He's talking now because he's so happy and thinks his movie's going to be amazing. Just keep the same energy, bro. When everything
Can you imagine the talk he's going to have if his movie stays on top of the weekend charts when Wakanda comes out?
is going to be crazy.
He's gonna
I've
make himself a DC championship belt with a bull on it, man.
he's going
Rock
to
out, man.
he's going to say, "I've been watched by millions
Mm-hmm.
and millions of people." So yeah, that's just going to be him. I mean, he's great hype. I mean, he's one of the most recognizable faces in showbiz right now, and I think it's going to be pretty stinking great. Hopefully, he does great. But
Yeah,
like we said,
I want him to succeed, and like right now, I'm just a little confused slash concerned that his scored as well as Batgirl. That means
ooh,
Batgirl was
Yeah, I
good,
heard that. Yeah,
and his movie was good, or that
it was
means
the
they'll go
first
back.
cut.
Right.
It was the first cut of the movie that reviewed the same as Batgirl. So it was just like before the edits and before they went back and retooled the thing. That's what I got from the article. I'm not trying to defend it because I haven't watched it yet, but
no, and I understand, and like I don't like while I take note of critic scores and whatnot. Like I never think they have the right people reviewing these movies. Because you go in and you're like, what was the problem? Like this was great. So like it's just something make note of. It's register up there, and I'm still going to check it out. Like
yeah.
I want him to win with this, just without all the noise. That's all.
And speaking of DC cuts, man, I know that this one kicked Tasha right in the gut. They're talking about getting rid of Young Justice. We're
Yes, they
rolling into
did.
that.
Oh man, this one hurts. So with all that Warner Brothers HBO cuts that they're doing, um, in the article that I shared in the group, they were saying that HBO originally only agreed to one season, but then they renewed for season four. And they're saying that right now there's no plans for season five. The creators were saying that it's not a matter of when, but if they even get a new season. So with these cuts happening, it's probably not going to happen. I'm afraid. I'm so scared. I want the renewal. I really do. Just give us one more. Just tie it in a bow with season five. That's all I want. But it's going to hurt to see it canceled for a second time.
Hopefully they don't cut it. Hopefully they can finish it out. They have one season left. They've got. I mean, they're going to get their tax money back on Batgirl. So they just not really a budget thing. They're going to have the money to make an animated show.
Yeah,
So
we just need to
Mm-hmm.
see the Dark Side resolution.
yes, just
Yep.
close that off. Because when they ended, what was it, season 2, when they dropped off the face of the earth and everything was still wide open,
Yeah.
and they just started a petition, and that was that like well. That wasn't before Twitter really took off, but now that Twitter's like forcing people to do shit, they're going to have to face all the fans if they do it again. And that
Mm-hmm.
the lost revenue from fans is probably more than the lost revenue of making the show. That's just my opinion, but I know nothing, zero.
My
But
my one hope, which is what I was telling you guys off mic, is that I want them to at least put the last season on physical media before they decide to just get rid of Young Justice if they so choose. Just put that last season on Blu-ray so I could put it in my collection, and all the other fans can put it in their collection if they have it, and we're set. Because
yeah,
if they're going to go down the route of canceling shows and also removing it from HBO Max, where are we going to watch it? So I'd rather have that physical media to not risk them taking it off of the streaming service and then have nowhere to watch it.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, hopefully they don't tank it. Hopefully they don't. I mean, just one more season. One more season, Warner Brothers. That's
Just
all the
one.
fans want. Just one. Uno mas.
Just one.
Call it good.
There is one more. I know we weren't gonna really get into DC because there's nothing solid it seems, but the gentleman who ran the Arrowverse, Greg Berlanti,
Yeah,
Mhm.
Belanti.
Yeah, so his name has come up again on the last couple of days as possibly um, running, getting in that Kevin Fergie role. And like the article I read, they brought up some good points. Like, I mean, the Arrowverse was the closest thing to a shared universe that DC has had, and
Hmm.
they definitely had a couple years where everything was rocking
Oh yeah.
for them.
It did.
But then it got soap opera. I think we all agreed that some of the early seasons of Arrow, Flash, Legends, first season Supergirl. I don't know if we can count that, even though it was on CBS for one season. And
Black Lightning
even
was good too.
Black Lightning
Black
was good
Lightning was
too.
great.
And yeah, I don't know why that was canceled. It didn't take that soap opera turn. I think with him, like it would be a good start, but
The music was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
They
he
did
he
great
has to
Hmm.
soundtrack.
be. It
Hmm.
can't do what CW did with the shows being smothered in romance and
They
marriage
ran. I think
counseling sessions.
they ran out of good material and they went to what was comfortable. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. The writing staff may have changed. Um, but we've had this discussion before. Even in post, it was like just go to the source material. That's where you're supposed to go.
Yeah,
You know.
is that, and I think I'm being serious now. The Oliver Felicity relationship. Um, what's Barry's girl's name? Iris.
Iris.
That like those kind of became front and center. I think
Mm-hmm.
Arrow, Flash. I'm just going to highlight those right there. They did good with taking obscure characters and giving them life.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Suicide Squad movies, they were alive on Arrow. It was like one Suicide Squad episode, maybe two a season, and they were great with John leading the team with his wife. Those were great, and that show got hit when DC decided to do their universe because they couldn't use certain characters anymore.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't have a problem if Greg took over, but I just got to be careful. I don't want all the. I don't want
Drama.
to see I don't want to see any more Olicity crap
Hmm. Hmm.
on in the movie screens.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
ho-
Keep
hope he
Dawson's
gets it.
Creek off. Keep 90210 off of
Uh,
it. Give me some hero stuff. Like you said, the first couple seasons of all those shows were amazing because they were action packed. It was pretty much a hero show doing hero stuff, but then you had the occasional drama sprinkled in. But then they flipped the script and they were like, all right, let's just go with drama. And every now and then we'll have some arrow fights and stuff like that.
That's
And
kind of why I think that Superman and Lois is that much better, because unlike Iris and Felicity, Lois knows what Superman's all about. She's not going to say like, "Oh, it's either me or the superhero life," like the other ones. She's fully integrated into that life.
yeah,
yeah, she's a
and
So
ride or
I
die.
think they know how they did a better job of balancing out the superhero dome and the romance and family relationship stuff that goes on in the background.
even Iris had a moment where I was looking at her sideways when she said that she was. What did she say? She was the Flash. Like, we are
We are the
Team
We are the
Flash.
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 Yeah, we are the Flash. I'm like, what?
Say, wait a minute. You ain't in
Like,
the
baby,
Speed Force.
yeah,
Come on
baby,
now.
I'm the one getting shot at out here.
Yeah, that. I remember when
Like,
that
I
happened.
love you.
Everybody was like crazy talking about that one.
Yeah, so she was running a close second to um, Felicity at one point, but you know,
Ooh, that's terrible. That's a terrible second.
yeah, yeah, it
Oh,
is.
oh man. All right. Well, changing gears, let's go to a Netflix movie, which I think we've all watched. Came out
No, I
last week.
didn't.
You didn't watch it?
Y'all didn't give
Well,
I
me the
didn't
homework
watch it
assignment.
either.
I didn't know I was supposed to.
It's all right.
all right,
It's all right.
push it out, push it out. These
All right, push it
guys,
out. We'll push it out.
yeah,
All right,
because
changing gears. It's all right. Give us something to talk about next week. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that next week because we're gonna
I'm
have
just giving them a hard time now. That's all.
It's not on Hulu. No, we didn't give you the assignment. We understand. I respect that. We didn't tell you to do it. And school's back in session. You have priorities. I can dig that 100%.
Yeah.
Man, those kids are killing me. I feel old in class. I feel like J Pat old. I feel old as shit.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Oh,
Mm.
All right, that only
to say
took
that all week.
9 minutes. It took
Bro,
less
I've
than
been
9
waiting
minutes
all
to.
week to say that. No, I've been waiting for that since. I'm waiting for that since Monday. I wish he was here to hear it, but he'll hear it.
He'll hear it.
You'll hear it. I promise you. Oh, okay. She-Hulk. She-Hulk dropped yesterday as of recording, which is a Friday. It dropped on Thursday. And what did we think of She-Hulk? Who goes first? Let's go with Tosh. Tosh, check it out.
Yep.
Please tell me.
I don't know anything about She-Hulk at all. So when you guys
No.
were mentioning about how they kind of stuck to her origins as to how she got her powers, I didn't know that she basically was in contact with Bruce's blood. I figured it was kind of like a situation where she experimented on herself to see if she would be able to be a Hulk. I didn't know. So when I saw that, it was a surprise. I was like, oh, okay, this is different. I guess I try to mentally compare it to like the Flash and Kid Flash, like how Kid Flash mimicked the science experiment. But anywho, um, the first episode, I wasn't expecting it to basically be only the stuff we saw in the trailer with her training with Bruce and um just be that whole beach scene. So for this being, I guess you guys said 8 or 9 episodes, I'm
9, yeah.
curious as to see what exactly we're going to get. They start to finish in this first episode, we covered the second trailer that came out, or is the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Either
The
one.
trailers are fuzzy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fuzzy to me. I can't remember. But basically, whichever
Second one
trailer
was
it
the
was
one with
that.
the abomination in it, right?
Yes.
Oh
The
yeah,
second
and
one was, yeah.
Daredevil. Right. Okay. I forgot about that one. I guess my brain was focused on the first trailer then. So I take it back. The Sally says hi, everybody.
Hi, Sally.
Yeah, I'll just
You're
finish
fine.
off by saying I enjoyed the episode. I was quiet for most of it. I didn't go woo, at anything. The CG, some of the stuff, it looked fine, but moments with Tatiana's face, it looked like her face was stiff. There wasn't much fluidity with her facial expressions in some scenes, not all of them, but some of them, and I did catch it. Um, I'm curious to figure out going forward why she's very open with her identity as She-Hulk that her coworker knows. And she was okay with basically hulking out in the courtroom. So, is well, I guess not, but with the stuff that we've had in the Avengers movies where anyone with a power has to be registered by the government, are we going to get into that? Or was that answered already? And I'm
No,
not
I don't know.
remembering. Just little things like that. I'll give it a second episode to before I decide if I really am going to be with the show or not, because we haven't gotten to that attorney part.
Okay.
But so far so good.
Okay. All right. Mike, what'd you think of She-Hulk, my man?
I liked it. I watched it. I got pretty much what I expected. I read the She-Hulk comic from the '90s, and I know she did a lot of fourth wall breaking, so I got a lot of what I expected. Uh, the I don't know what you call it, animation, how she looked, the CG, she still looked a little cartoonish for me. Um, Even Hulk looked really cartoonish to me. They didn't look that good to me, especially when they were doing like the thunderclap and she was clapping her hands. That looked a little corny. But
Yeah.
it did. It looked a little corny, but I got pretty much what I was expecting. Didn't have any real problems. Like Tasha, though, still didn't really blow me away either. But I mean, of course, I'm going to watch it. Uh, it's,
Yeah.
but I'm looking forward to the rest of it. That's pretty much it. I mean, it was all right. It was cool.
All right.
And I do like this. It jumped right into it. It didn't make you wait like 90 episodes to get to the point. It started okay here.
It
I did
didn't. It
enjoy
didn't.
that.
It didn't Moon Knight you.
And Moon Knight me, didn't Miss Marvel me. It just went okay. Hey, she Hulk in the first 30 seconds. Okay, good. All right, I ain't gotta wait for it.
Hell yeah.
So and I
I
did
did
enjoy
like that part.
factor. Yeah, that was a great part.
That was great. Rob, what about you, man? DC guy.
I liked it. I thought it was funny. The Bruce and Jennifer, how they're their family. You can tell the way that they talk to each other and the way they joked and harass each other that it didn't come off as forced. It came off like these people know each other for a long time. Their jokes, their inside jokes.
They've had dinner
So it
together
didn't
more
come
than
over all
once.
the. Yeah, it's not over the top. So it was funny, but not like. We don't need to go into Thor, but the scene where she hulked out on those dudes trying to freshen up, be fresh with her was really funny.
Yeah.
Just to see their faces when she turned around and screamed at them, that was really good. And even the scene of all the girls taking care of her in the bathroom, that was really funny too.
That was
nice.
hilarious.
Yeah, that was really funny. I think they did. You can tell in some scenes they definitely, especially when Jennifer is still, they cleaned up a lot of the CG. They defined her facial features and her wrinkles, and they even defined her muscles a lot better than they did in the trailers. She's still slimish, but you can tell she's got biceps. Like
Yeah, she's definitely
she's a big,
defined.
yeah. And like you guys were saying, the animation in some of those action sequences still seemed pretty, but that's just kind of how action sequences go, though. They have to kind of rush them out. So when they're moving so fast, you don't have to have as much detail, and it makes sense to kind of save in on that end. But overall, no, I like the pace, the humor, everything else about this show seems pretty good so far. I
Hell
would have
yeah.
liked a second episode to start, just to kind of get us an idea of what the overarching, plot is in this
Mhm.
one. But I'm guessing we'll get that next week.
Yeah, I agree. Quincy, overall, what do you think?
So I was not looking forward to this show. Okay,
At
as
all.
I mentioned before, this one made me so nervous. I'm not gonna watch this. I'm gonna skip over it. And I watched it, and I loved this first episode. Um, I think a good story where it makes sense is like the medicine for almost everything. Like the CGI was spotty in some areas, but it's like I didn't even really like it wasn't something that dragged the show to me. The pace was good. Um, Again, Marvel had to change something that the Russos had done in Endgame and uncripple the Hulk. She-Hulk's origin was a little outdated, so I understand them changing it a little bit. Um, but I thought it was good. I like this aspect, and this will be interesting. Like a hero who is kind of like out in the open. She's like, I'm going to continue to live my life. Like this doesn't change anything, and that's interesting territory. I really can't think of anyone else in the MCU who's lived like this, except maybe Spider-Man. But that he still had a secret identity.
I think
She's still
Steve did
going out.
for the most part. It was off. It
Yeah,
was off camera, but
yeah, but he was in like a government monitored building. Like his job was, like he was working for Shield. Like she's going to her apartment, going to work. She's got coworkers, and
she's on
like
Tinder.
yeah. So like I wanna, like I'm interested in that. And it was the CGI was. So I will go back and say this. So the Hulk, his facials like up close were sharp, and then when they pulled back from him doing action, like it looked weird. And then with her, it was almost the same. Like when they were fighting, it almost looked almost like a sim video game or something. But it wasn't like I enjoyed the show. Like I'm gonna keep watching it. But again, the Disney Plus shows, the ones that I have liked and ended up hating, they were good in the beginning. They just couldn't keep up the momentum. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Cocaine wore off.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. They,
I don't.
Rob mentioned that these were only 30 minutes. Like, what'd you say, 39, 37
37.
minutes?
37, I
Yeah.
think.
They need to keep
Yeah.
it at like that. Like, just keep it tight and keep it moving.
Yeah. I agree. I like the pace. I like the story so far. Yes, the origin, like one of the posts in the Facebook group actually said it was it felt kind of rushed or weird, but I agree with Quincy. It was outdated, and we talked about this off mic. And borrow your words, Quincy, that this MCU Hulk would not willingly give his blood to anybody, knowing what was going on inside of him. And so I think the origin story kind of fit. You know, he bled onto her, and it was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that was the only weak point to me. The CGI, of course, as you've all mentioned, it's kind of sketchy. When you got tight, everything looked good. When you backed off, it was kind of like a comic panel. You didn't really have to be so detailed if your character was further off in the panel. You get
Yeah, it
tight the
kind of seemed
panel.
like anytime they had to animate anything more than the face, it kind of faded out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just kind of put a few less pencil strokes in there, but you got the gist of it. Um, the fight scene was funny. You could tell they were family. They just, they were fighting like my family and I did in the backyard at barbecues. You just start tussling, and it just happened to be two very strong people. I love her character's competitive spirit. She's so I'm just better. Her whole thing was I'm just better than you, Bruce. And I found it hilarious. When she busted out, he was like, are you still in there, Jen? And she was like, yeah, who else would be in here? And it was hilarious. I thought it was really great. And her competitive spirit and the fact that she just wanted to get back to her regular job. I was like,
And there
how
was
long?
like 2 or 3 times where Bruce is like, "Don't lawyer me."
Yeah. How long have you been in Mexico? And you're just going to jump into a gigantic Jeep and drive yourself back over the border. That's just funny to me. I found it hilarious. Her comfort with her coworker, she's her best friend. And I think that's why she was just so comfortable talking to her about it. And the reason why she hulked out, why not?
Protect people. Yeah.
Yeah, to protect people. That's what they do. She finally accepted the fact that she's going to be a superhero. Um, I dug it. I'm looking forward to the rest. I'm kind of apprehensive, like Quincy mentioned. You start off hot, but then all of a sudden, in Rob's famous quote, I'm gonna say it again: the coke wore off. In other shows that we've watched, and it just fizzled out. But hopefully, this one doesn't. It's a good, fast pace, and I'm looking forward to it. I like this so far, so it has a lot more to prove.
The dialogue was good too. I
Yeah,
liked their conversation. I liked his concern with her being a Hulk. You can tell, he's in a good spot now, but before you can tell, he's a little, I don't know, what's the word? Let's just
Hmm.
say he was affected by it. He was really concerned for her. He didn't want her to leave. It's like, hey, like, I'm here. I'm the only other person who knows what you're going through. Like I felt all that, and they were legitimate concerns, and it was a realistic conversation. Even some of the things she was saying about restraining her anger, um, like those were good,
that
well
was
written
that was
scenes.
great. That
Hmm.
was
Yeah,
That was good.
and like again, man, like story um, cures all ailments with movies, books, whatever. Like as long as you're keeping it going, the pace. To Mike's point, they jump right into it. Like I didn't need to see her get shot by a gangster and them have to find Bruce Banner so that she gets a blood fusion and then she transforms. But all that was handled in like the first
All right.
10 minutes,
Just
maybe.
yeah
get right
Like,
to it.
less. Yeah,
right, right. And I mean, I'm actually I like the reason for the accident. Looks like I can't think of his name. Game Master, Grandmaster, the
It
guy
was
from yeah,
Sakari Pro or
Sakari.
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. It looks like they're looking for him, which would kind of makes sense. So that's a nice thread that's there. You can
Hmm.
see that um the universe, the MCU,
It
everything
exists.
outside that show,
Yeah.
right? The connections are still there, and like that
Right.
was good to see. Um, I read there are a lot of cameos in this, and I mean I can kind of understand why. If just looking at what we're having to deal with, a very public hero, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be eyes on her, and she might get more of these conversations. Um, she might not, but she's in the public. It'd be curious what they do with the Civil War, the Sokovia Accords.
Mm-hmm.
They've had the same effect, long-lasting effect that they've had in the comics. The Civil War was important for that year, and then afterwards, like what registration? Like forget all of it. Yeah, like don't worry about that. Even though people
Eh,
died on both sides, like don't worry about it.
yeah,
You
sign a
know.
waiver. It'd be good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are absolutely no repercussions in the comics from the Civil War. I think a year after it ended. Honestly, like everything just went back to BAU.
Now, real quick, uh, Bruce did a lot of name dropping. He talked a lot about Tony
Tony.
and
Yeah.
and he mentioned Steve. I don't know what was the hype about Steve's virginity. Why was that even a big issue? I mean, I saw articles and I'm like, what? Why do I give a shit about Steve Rogers when he got some? What?
Because that was
I think
America's
it.
ass, man.
Yep.
And
Still, he a
and it was
grown
like
man. I
a.
give a damn when he did it.
I think it was just
People
kind
needed to
of.
know.
Yeah, I
No,
think it was
we
just kind of
no, we
assumed that he
don't.
was. Because you remember the conversation he had with Black Widow in Civil War, and she was like, "When was the last time you kissed a girl?" And I don't
Yeah.
know if he answered it,
That
and
was Winter Soldier. That was Winter Soldier.
yeah,
Yeah.
what did I say?
Civil War.
Black Widow.
Oh,
It's
that was
on
on my
either way.
mind.
It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Winter Soldier. Yeah,
It's on right now. Civil War is on right now, I believe. But yeah, to me, I found that part pointless.
I
Like,
thought it
oh
was
yeah.
humorous. I think they wrote it in
I
just to
mean,
be
it was
funny.
funny, but the way it was all over Facebook, the question about Steve Rogers' virginity is answered. Who gives a shit about
That
Steve
was
Rogers'
definitely for
but
virginity?
the female viewers.
Yeah.
yeah, and
It's America's ass.
that was the balance. Like it wasn't the whole show with that. Like it hit hard, it was funny, and like you moved on with the Gamma story. And like
Yeah.
honestly, I wanted to hear Bruce confirm that he was alive or dead. Like
Hmm.
the last rumor in Falcon was that he's living on the moon. And no one knows where he is. Like it's just, I wanted some
He's an
confirmation. It
urban
didn't come
legend
out
now.
though.
In the
Right.
MCU, he's an urban legend. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. That whole part where she was just like faking drunk, and all of a sudden she was like, I'm sober. I was like, oh, this is great. And he was really mad when he crashed his bar. Then he made her build it back up. So
Hmm.
overall, good stuff. I mean, she's hilarious. I think there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, and the actress, I don't know, Tasha, if that was you or Megan who watched her in a previous show.
I think it was
That was
Megan.
me.
It
No,
was
that was
you.
me.
And
Okay,
Yeah,
Orphan Black.
like
Orphan Black. Hmm.
she's great. Like
I was about to
I'm
say Black
sold.
Clover.
No, no,
I'm
no.
sold on. I'm sold on her. Like
Yeah, she was good.
some of her best parts were her just in regular form having the
Hmm.
conversations, and
I don't know
she
why I thought
she
she
held the
had an
scene.
accent though. I just thought she had an accent maybe from the pictures or
A
something.
couple of her characters in
She,
Orphan Black do.
Is that what it
yeah,
is? I
she's
don't.
Canadian.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly, she is Canadian. So she has a little bit of an accent naturally, I believe.
Oh, it's the brown curly hair that threw you off, Mike, because that's Quincy's kryptonite. So that's why he's on it like
Hey,
that.
she's short and crazy. She's short,
She
mean, and
probably
crazy
crazy.
too.
There you
Yeah,
go.
like, you see that in her eyes, man. It's all right. It's okay.
Oh man. First episode, I definitely give it out of a 10, a solid 8. I give it a solid 8 out
All
of
right.
10.
Well, let me get my scorecard up here. All right. What about you, Tosh?
Um, um, I'd give it an 8 as well.
Okay. Robert.
Yeah, I'd go with an 8 as well.
Oh, okay. Mike.
Yeah, I give it that 7.5, 8. I no lower than that. It's straight.
Give me
I
one
stick
number.
with it. 8.
Lotto
Oh,
number. Give me a lotto number.
Don't make him do math.
Yeah, like, what are you doing here? Uh, that would be bold. I'm stingy with my points, so I'm just gonna give it an 8. 9 was about to come out though. I really enjoyed it. I really did.
All
I
right.
really did.
All right. Oh man. Superheroes. Dragon Ball superhero, to be specific. So I
Rob's
know
going
we had two.
first.
We saw two on the panel. Two on the panel got to see it. Oh, Rob, fire away, man.
Rob's
I'm
going
ready to hear
first. He
this.
has he
Hold
has
on,
to go
I
first.
saw it. I wanted to talk about this.
You a
Like, I'm
lie.
so excited. Yeah. All right, you guys go. I'll be right.
Well, we can. I took some notes while I was watching it, and I was kind of just keeping it in the back of my mind because there's a lot of little hints speckled out throughout the whole thing. But overall, I would say it's a pretty good movie. I would say the Broly movie is still better. It's paced a lot better. The fight scenes were a little bit better. This one, I swear, the first 30 minutes of this movie felt like 2.5 hours because it was just evil. It was just supervillain monologuing for the whole time, driving in a car and going over their plan and all this other stuff. I mean, it was good to hear, and they showed some pretty cool stuff, and the animation was really, really good. For it being mostly 3D animation, they managed to blend in the Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama style of art into the 3D realm without making it look too jarring. Some of it kind of was like they had very stiff movements in some scenes, but their fights were all pretty well choreographed and put together pretty well. Um, I would say other than the pacing issues, it was refreshing to see some of the minor characters taking the starring role in the show, and it's similar to what they wanted to do in the Cell and Buu saga. They wanted Gohan to be the main character and Goku stay dead and be off, but marketing issues and them not selling enough toys brought Goku back. But they found a pretty plausible reason to keep Goku and Vegeta off of the planet and out of this fight, and what they brought to the table was very entertaining, even though they did bring back a villain that we've seen before. His form is a lot different, and it was fun to see just the way it all played out.
Yeah. Tasha's nodding emphatically. Go ahead, Tasha.
I'm hiding my smile so much. Okay, I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as I possibly can. If just a teeny little plug, just a teeny bit. If you want to hear the spoiler filled version, there will be a bonus episode coming out sometime after this one. I don't know how soon after, but I will have the full spoiler review of this movie. But for now, I loved the movie. Now, that might be just because I was in the IMAX screening for an anime movie for the first time. Usually I'll do, they have your regular size screens, but then they have like what's called a super screen or a jumbo screen, and then you have IMAX. I'll see the anime movies in the slightly bigger screen, but this is my first IMAX experience, and I just felt immersed in the world. For me, I was sitting there, I was like, this is amazing. The animation is so good. So at first, I when I saw the trailers, I didn't care for the animation too much because it's not what I was used to. I was like, oh no, here we go with the computer animated crap. But with how they wanted to do the fight scenes, it made sense. And I ended up really enjoying how the movie looked. There was a lot of humorous moments. I tried so hard not to be the only one laughing so loud in the theater. But the little comedic moments. I saw it in English dub, by the way. So for anyone that was wondering, they I think they have English dub and Japanese dub in the theater. So you could pick and choose your experience. But I saw it in English. And it made me miss seeing a Dragon Ball anime. Like we haven't had one in a few years now in America, and it made me miss watching an episode week to week. But anyway, um fighting choreography I thought was good. There were, without giving too much away, when they did fight, you know how sometimes in Dragon Ball they'll do just a bunch of zoom lines that show, oh, this character's moving so fast or they're punching so fast. They didn't do that a whole lot. You got to actually see kicks and punches connect and actually see the fight choreography.
You got to see Piccolo give somebody a DDT, and that was awesome.
It was so nice. And I liked the fact that we got to see minor characters shine. They shined in this movie. And one of the other things that they've done is they kind of allowed people who haven't seen Dragon Ball Super be integrated into this movie. So if you've seen Dragon Ball Z at least, you can come into this movie, see these characters, you not really recognize who they are, but the characters will tell you who they are. They're like, oh, your father Gohan, or oh, your brother Trunks, stuff like that. To have you figure out who is who that was introduced in Super. So I think anybody who has not watched the Dragon Ball Super anime can come into this film and enjoy it for what it is, especially since we have a previous villain come through. The only thing I would say is that previous villain was from Dragon Ball Z. So as long as you've seen Dragon Ball Z, you will feel, a connection to this film. Um, as for a score, oh boy. Um my brain wants to say to give it a 10 out of 10 because I couldn't find anything wrong with it. And I'm still in that hype from seeing it last night. I would say solid 9, maybe a 9.5.
Oh, okay. I can get
I
down with
I
that.
I will get more into everything in that bonus episode, and just you'll hear me geek out for at least 20 minutes. But yes, recommend seeing it in the theater. If you can see it in IMAX, I say it's worth the price. But
I
at
agree.
least
I
it's a
think in the
good,
theater, definitely.
in the theater.
Okay.
Just
You
the
have to see
scale,
it
the
in the
scale of
theater.
the way they do it, it looks so good on the big screen for sure.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
I
Rob,
think
what'd you
I'd give it an 8, only because I think some of the monologuing and exposition could be trimmed a little bit just to give some mystery, because they laid out everything right at the beginning. You know how this thing was going to play
Yeah,
out.
It's like
So
mumbling.
yeah, they did.
they could have cut a little bit of that, and I think it would have flowed a little bit better. But other than that, everything else is really good.
Okay.
The kaiju battle that they have in there, and anybody who's seen
Kaiju.
any of the MCU will notice some homages that they took. The base itself very similar to Wakanda. It's got a force field around it hiding the base.
Yep, yep. You're right.
Gohan
You're
does
right.
his Thor coming down and his bring me Thanos moment. One of the characters when they die, it looks like they turn into dust, like the snap. You know, some of the people who just got done watching some of the MCU movies when they were writing the script for this.
Sounds fun. Yeah, I want to. I'm not gonna promise, but I'm gonna definitely try because it sounds like a great time. I mean, I'm gonna have to do a bunch of YouTubing to catch all the way back up before I watch it. I'm rely on you guys to tell me which ones to watch, though. So we'll go with that.
If you just do a quick dive of the Android and Cell saga, you'll be pretty much up to date on everything you need to know about this
Okay.
the main plots of
Yep.
this, I should say. Whatever Vegeta and Goku are doing are pretty much inconsequential to the plot.
Okay.
The after credit scene is pretty funny though.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
All
it
right.
is.
All right. Great. I love it, guys. I can't wait for Tasha's her episode to drop. next week, so that'll be fun to listen to. Definitely check that out, people. We'll definitely make it known that it exists and you can check it out. Oh man,
Please.
yeah, definitely, please. We're gonna do some propers. Quincy's gonna do some propers and make sure that it's publicized, right, Q?
Yeah, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
perfectly fine.
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
Good. All right, man. This is a fun part of the episode. We're going to the group questions, and pretty decent turnout. I think we're gonna have some good talking points this week, similar to the last 2 weeks. Quincy, I'm gonna let you run with it, man.
Yeah, let's bring it up here.
I have it up if you want me to read them.
Yeah,
Go
man.
for
Let
it.
me say this first. Jason, happy belated birthday, Mr. Spider-Man. We'd love to hear your questions. I know that you were asking where to post them. Just go ahead and post them in the feed. You're a very busy man, but next time you see the post pop up, just go ahead and throw the questions in there. If you don't feel comfortable throwing them out there like that, just inbox one of us, and we'll definitely get it out there. So that's all I had to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Tasha. You have a wonderful voice that flows over the podcast universe. Go ahead.
No pressure. um, so we'll start with the question from Dennis Glover. He was following up to a discussion that was done earlier in the week in the Facebook group regarding, I believe this was a fan casting for Professor X with the new X-Men coming to the MCU. So he was saying, following up about the Giancarlo Esposito fan casting of Professor X, is there an issue, aside from the inevitable, with making Professor X and Magneto's origins specifically about race? Why not make their ideals stem directly from the society they were meant to be allegories for?
That's
Would I have a problem with that? No, but uh, y'all know the world we live in. Y'all know the same group of people that hate everything would lose their mind. It would go ape shit crazy. Oh my god,
yeah, they would.
it would be
Mm.
too much for a lot of people. They wouldn't be able to handle it, even though
Those are the people you got to talk
there's
to real slow, right, Mike?
rail slow. Those people I don't even talk to. I just can't. I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy for those. I could take the misinformed better than the ignorant. Those people I just can't deal with. I just avoid them completely.
I like that.
You
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Now, this might sound silly. It might have just been an online comparison that I've seen. I don't know why I thought this was actually true. But is there any truth to Professor X and Magneto being an inspiration from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in terms of their beliefs are on a line, but their ways of going about it are different?
From
it
Is that true, or is that just some people online saying, "Oh, I noticed the two are kind of similar"?
that story, that particular point of view has been around since forever, and it's not
Mhm.
just online. That was just the way that people believed it, and it was a great comparison. But from what I've gathered and read, is that they weren't written like that. It just happened to be that way. It just happened to be a
Okay.
direct parallel.
right.
That's just for me.
It kind of morphed
Okay.
that way into the '90s. In the beginning, it wasn't so much that way, but in the
hmm
'90s was really when it morphed into that Malcolm X, Martin Luther King thing, especially around the
Yeah.
time the X movie came out. That's when it really got that vibe. But
Okay.
it was intentional by that point. It wasn't, they meant for it to be that way. So
So
Yeah,
then my question is, what is the problem with Professor X and Magneto being cast as people of color?
flat
If
out
if
nothing.
people are okay with comparing it to real life figures who are people of color,
the
why
same
not
thing with
just
The,
anybody being of color. It's the same
the,
argument.
yeah, and I mean, to me, it would. The question would be: is Professor X and Magneto, is their race? Is it something that is heavily tied to their origin?
hmm
Like,
Yeah.
whereas we can't have like a white, a Russian, or an Australian Black Panther, right? Like his origin is African, and root. You can't just change that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't read enough X-Men books to say yes or no if their origins are tied to their ethnic
With
backgrounds.
Magneto, it kind of is. He's definitely European. He grew up in, I forget, so where's Auschwitz or somewhere in Jewish territory back in. He's definitely Max Eisenhardt is his real name, not
Hmm.
Eric Lynch. I think that was his uncle or whatever. So he is definitely. But as far as Professor X, not so much. But
No,
definitely Magneto.
I don't think the world's ready for that change yet, as a whole. Sadly
Mm.
enough, the world's not ready for all the change that needs to happen. You can quote me on that.
And these are the same
Overall,
people who were hating She-Hulk 3 days before it came out. They're just not going to be able to handle it. Yeah,
no,
it's just,
no, they're still hung up in their ways. That's them. And honestly, in my belief, it is our duty to help change these people if they're willing to change. But until they're willing to change, it's never going to happen. So I would love to see that happen strictly from a cinematic point of view, but I really don't think the world's ready for it yet. I think it could happen, but I just don't think it's ready for it yet. My
Mm.
opinion.
All right.
Uh, Tosh, can
Go ahead.
you get Jamil's question? It's underneath the second comment. I don't know why he replied to that instead of just making his
Sure.
own. Yeah, I don't want that one to get lost.
Where was that?
Jamil
Oh,
underneath
under
the
the
second comment. The
tags.
Cannon Busters. I've
Okay.
never
I
even
got
heard of
it.
these shows.
Okay. So he says, Cannon Busters and Seis Manos were two of my favorite shows on Netflix, but they never got renewed for another season. He said he has his own opinion of why they didn't get renewed, but wants to know what our opinions are on why.
Anybody
I'm gonna
familiar
have
with
to
those shows?
say that they weren't advertised because I've never heard of either of them.
Okay. Like, I wasn't sure if I've never heard of the shows.
same.
Tasha,
I've
you
never heard
familiar
of
with
Yeah,
them
them?
either.
yes, I watched both. um,
Good.
I, Seis Manos, it was, from what I remember, it was enjoyable. Cannon Busters, I didn't really care for too much.
Are they are
I just
they
couldn't connect with it.
are they like anime type of joints?
Yes, but
Okay.
I believe they're American made, but one, I think Cannon Busters was made in Japan, but the
Okay.
creator is an American who lives in Japan. I think that's correct. If I'm incorrect, I
Okay.
apologize. It's been a little while. The reason why they were not renewed, my only guess is that Netflix, they're just not really into the anime stuff as they claim they want to be at the time. These are shows that seemed like Japanese anime inspired, and like Robert said, they weren't heavily advertised. Um, but
Yeah, because
it's
like
also not a
Voltron
big
and
property.
Castlevania were very advertisable.
Yeah,
Voltron and Castlevania
and
both, and then we
Yeah,
and
watched them.
there
they're
was
They
they're
got three or
both
four seasons.
properties.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were
They're
swinging a rake
published
through that one.
properties. Cannon Busters and Seis Manos are, from what I can remember, again, I could be wrong. They're original shows. They're
Well,
not based off of anything prior,
yeah,
like
I
Voltron or
remember.
Castlevania or Dota, Arcane, League of Legends, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So if it's not catching a whole bunch of attention and things like that from just stuff that's already known today from other media, it's not going to get a fair
stick.
shot,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I remember looking at the photo of Seis Manos right now. I remember watching the first two episodes of this. Um, South American based storytelling, martial arts. They have a sensei, and he's in South America somewhere. I like the action. The story was kind of weak to me. That's just me. I remember that one. And looking at Cannon
Hmm.
Busters, the female lead or the I have never watched it. I don't want to assume she's a female, but she looks feminine. Um, the animation looks like the same animators that did Voltron, the most recent Voltron. She looks like the princess from the most recent Voltron. I never watched a single minute of it. That's what the animation looks like. I can only speak for Seis Manos.
Wait, you didn't watch Voltron?
I did watch Voltron. I
Oh,
didn't
I'm
watch.
No,
sorry.
he didn't
Oh,
watch
okay.
Cannon Busters.
Yeah, I didn't watch
Woo.
Cannon Busters. Hey, sit down.
Okay.
We're talking anime. You're supposed to be quiet right now. That's what you do.
I heard Voltron though. That's where I stepped in.
Why they didn't get renewed? Probably because, just like Tasha said, the IP was kind of weak, and they probably did a one shot, and it didn't test well, or it didn't really pan out the way they wanted it to. So it's just going to be like a cult classic. There's a ton of animes that Tasha could probably run down a list of that only got one season and never really got another shot. So it's not abnormal for this to happen. It's a business.
But also, Netflix is known to give a lot of things, animated or live action alike, one season and then that's it. They cancel it. I don't know what kind of numbers they look at to determine that they want to pursue a season 2 of anything, but I don't know.
You know what?
It probably fell into that category.
Here's a tip for anybody that wants to put an anime on Netflix. Write this down. Get the kid from Stranger Things, your favorite actor, Quincy, and put him in an anime. That show will be on for 17.
He's terrible. He's terrible. He's a terrible kid.
Yeah. But we don't know, man. I mean, Jamil, we'd love to know. I'm pretty sure we can do some digging and find out. But I will sit down and watch Cannon Busters. I watched some of Seis Manos, like I said, but I'll watch some Cannon Busters to see exactly why it fell apart. I don't know. The animation is pretty tight. The guy, the male character. Yeah, the male character looks like a mixture of Naruto, Cowboy Bebop, and his bottom half looks like something from Attack on Titan. So it looks like it'd be fun. Hell, I don't know.
Well, Jamil, you got more than I thought we were going to get from that question. So tell your friends to listen to the podcast. See you in a couple of weeks, bro.
All right. Next question is from Tim. He was wondering if any of us on the panel would be seeing the upcoming movie Beast starring Idris Elba.
Yes.
Maybe.
It reminds me of that movie with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer a couple of years ago with the man eating lions. Like that was a good movie, and it's that movie.
A couple years ago.
I'm being gracious here.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was a good movie. Like that's one of my favorite movies. If it's similar to that, then I'm gonna watch it anyway. Like, it caught my eye.
Okay. Nah, I'm gonna say maybe. I'm not a huge movie goer right now with the way that my life is laid out. I'll probably check it out when it comes to streaming. So.
No. Yeah, I think I'm gonna check it out when it's on streaming as well. It doesn't seem like a theater movie for me.
No. Yeah, I've already seen The Gray, so I don't need to see a lion version of it.
The Gray? Oh.
Liam Neeson punching wolves.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good movie too. Did you see Ghosts in Darkness?
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, I did see that. That's also really good.
Yeah.
My wife wants to see it, so I might end up seeing it in the theater. But other than that, that's probably about it.
She's gonna threaten you with that hammer.
She might. Shit, she crazy.
Mike's sleeping like this. One eye open. That's good. All right. Next question, Tosh.
All right. Yep. Tim Carter again was saying, do we think that Young Justice is fully dead, or could Warner Brothers license it out to Netflix and give it hope for a 5th season? My answer is no. We had Netflix streaming Young Justice, and they did nothing with it at the time from when it was on Cartoon Network up until they removed it from Netflix and put it on, at the time, the DC Universe app.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think that Warner Brothers will play nicely with Netflix the way that Marvel has in terms of their shows. It would be nice if they did so that we can get that final season, but I don't think that it's going to happen. I'm still holding out some hope that Warner Brothers will give Young Justice a fighting chance the way that they're doing this Flash movie. That's a whole nother thing. But it's not completely scrapped yet. It's just in talks of possibly being scrapped because season 5 has not been officially confirmed. We want that
Mm.
season 5. That's the thing. So I'm just hoping. I'm hoping that we get the season 5 for HBO
Yeah,
Max, but it's not going to come to Netflix. No.
I don't think Warner Brothers DC is loaning anything out. Like they bring everything for their streaming service so people can pay for theirs,
Yup.
their brand. And if
Yeah.
it goes to Netflix, Netflix is going to cancel it after another season. That's what they do. They cancel shows, so there's no
Hmm.
point.
Oh
I,
no.
I'll hold out hope that they're going to bring it back. I think that a lot of this, just from the standpoint that they've been doing, is a lot of just restructuring, clean slating their entire future schedule that's coming out, except for things that are already heavily in development, and then figuring out what they can afford and what they think is going to bring people to their platforms. And hopefully, Young Justice is going to be one of those things that's going to get put back onto the docket. That's what I'm holding out hope
I
for.
really hope so.
Oh, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Go ahead.
Okay. Next question is from Dennis Glover again. He asks, "What do you think is the biggest missed opportunity so far from Marvel or DC? What story arc or character were you expecting to appear that never materialized?" And he listed examples of Taika using Korg instead of Beta Ray Bill as the sidekick, or DC Studios constantly teasing the Big Belly Burger but never paying off with Hitman.
Hitman would
Uh,
be a good movie.
I I got one. The Snyderverse. I wish, like, I've read storyboards about what they were planning: Green Lanterns, New Gods, Wars with Apocalypse. Um, I didn't like it all, but I would have liked to have seen that. I really think that's a missed opportunity for that cast. Um, Cavill, Ben. Uh, who knows? Ezra might still be sane if
Shit.
the movies would still be going. But like to me, it's a missed opportunity. I don't know what the issue was. There's support behind these movies, and I think that's the biggest one. It could be fatal for DC at this point. The window might be closing for some of these actors, maybe. But that's my answer.
My I'll go. Martian Manhunter. I should have seen him on the big screen by now. We saw him. We had him on Supergirl, which is fun and all. It showed him, but whenever was it the original? Uh, what movie was it that he flew down and talked to Batman at his little
That was
That
bungalow?
was the
Snyder
Snyder Cut.
Justice
Cut.
League, yeah, Snyder Cut. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, totally missed that one. I mean, for real, and they just slept on that one. I really think that Martian Manhunter could have done so much in that universe. To touch on his point of Taika using Korg instead of Beta Ray Bill, it was missed also. I mean, I like Korg, but I think Korg was just there because Taika's voice was there. That's the reason why Korg existed, was um because Taika has an ego and he wanted to be in that movie somehow, some way, and that's why he kept Korg in there and made him such a hot commodity. So, but I think Martian Manhunter was a swing and a miss. There are tons of perfectly capable. Last point for me: there are tons of capable mutants that could have been put on the big screen that they just didn't touch. They just stayed with the big ones, and um, it did the job. But I think they could have done a lot better with more roles, and especially with the guy who couldn't die. dying. He couldn't be destroyed. He got destroyed. So that's my point. That's it.
I would have really liked to have seen the Justice League Dark movie that they were going to do to introduce more of the magic elements into the DCU. That would have been fun. And I think, honestly, all of Thor: Love and Thunder was a a missed opportunity that completely ruined a very compelling villain.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's dead, we're never going to see him again. So, your hopes of ever seeing a good God Bomb or any of those stories are completely out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Anything,
I go.
Mike?
Yeah, I got a couple. Not many, but I got a couple. I think Taskmaster was definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
They totally botched that character. It was just horrible. I don't understand why they did it. I don't see the point behind it. But Taskmaster was a missed opportunity. That could have been a very interesting villain, street level or otherwise. I mean, he could do so much. And then for me, Miss Marvel's origin was a missed opportunity on several fronts. Making her mutant wasn't necessary, but if they want to do it, that's fine. But they still could have kept her powers the way they were. There was no reason to switch them up. Not that I can see. And the whole band or bangle, if they're going to have that bangle could have led to somebody else. That could have been a Quasar
Yep.
opportunity to bring in. They didn't need to do that, especially if they were making a mutation. I still don't see any point to combining those two things. That's a missed opportunity. So that's pretty much the only. Not gonna say only two I have. So that's the first two that popped in my mind. Was
Okay.
those two?
I have one more for MCU. I think Hawkeye was a missed opportunity, especially in Phase Two. I think Ultron being actually dead was also a missed opportunity. I think he should have been. He could have died in that movie, but he should have been in the background, maybe to cause for some things that wouldn't have been explained until down the line. But Ultron and Hawkeye also.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Ultron could have been saved on a thumb drive somewhere. You know.
Hmm.
I I don't have enough knowledge to really talk about any missed opportunities, but I do have. I'm interpreting this question in my own way so I can contribute something to this
Mm-hmm.
particular question. So, in terms of a story arc or a character I was expecting but not materialized, so far, I would have liked to have seen Raven or Starfire show up in Young Justice. Kind of complete that
Mm-hmm.
trifecta of Teen Titans. We've got the Robin that turns into Nightwing. We got Beast Boy. We got Cyborg. I think adding Starfire and Raven into that show would have been very interesting to see. I'm not sure how they would fit it into the universe that Young Justice has made, and you know, especially now that Dick Grayson's Nightwing, he's older now, and I guess they could do it in terms of age difference with how they do it in the Titans live action show. But yeah, I think seeing those two characters within Young Justice would have been really cool.
Yes.
I have
I agree.
this is my last one. The other missed opportunity was when uh those assassins when they shot up Oliver Queen's car, they didn't kill Felicity.
Here we go. Here we
There
go.
you go.
They
God
they
damn.
missed. So there you go.
Golly, it's harsh, man.
Mm.
It's the truth.
Oh,
Ah.
okay.
All right. So our last question is from Dennis again. So he's more of not a question, but more so like a discussion.
Statement.
So yeah, he wants to know if there is anyone that we would cast or recast um, for a character we haven't seen yet.
Well, we can't really recast the character
S-
we haven't seen, but okay, we'll go with
yeah,
that.
so that one's a little confusing. I guess cast a character we haven't seen yet, or recast a character that we've seen. I guess I'll turn it into that kind of a question. So his example are Tom Hooper as Captain Britain, Alan Richson as Flash Thompson slash Agent Venom, and Ricky Whittle as Blue Marvel.
Okay. I've pulled up all three of these guys' photos. Tom Hopper played the big arm guy on the Umbrella Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Luther
he was number one?
Hargreaves, I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah, he's
So
number
so that's
one.
him. I don't
Okay.
really know enough about Britain, but aesthetically he has the look. Alan Richardson or Alan Richson,
Richson. Jack
gigantic man from
Reacher.
Jack Reacher. As much as he'd be a great Venom, it'd be a waste to cover him in black paint. That'd just be my opinion. The guy, he's a beautiful man, and covering him up in Venom black paint would be a waste of a character. And Ricky Whittle, he looks like Shamar Moore's younger brother. But I couldn't see him as Blue Marvel. I couldn't see him
Yeah,
as Blue Marvel. Nothing in me screams, nothing about this man screams Blue Marvel to me.
I think some of these we actually touched on. Like, if
Oh,
forget
this again.
Hyperion
Okay.
for Cavill. Like, Cavill's British. Like, that would be my pick for Captain Britain. Um, Flash and Blue Marvel at this point, I would go with an unknown. I don't know at this point. There are guys, if they were younger, I would have liked to have seen as Blue Marvel, but at this point, like, just I'll roll the dice on an unknown. But Cavill, Captain Britain for sure.
Just out of the ones that he mentioned, I would recast Flash Thompson. I never, whoever the guy that plays him in the Spider-Man movies, he just didn't have that swag for me to be Flash.
Yeah,
Flag.
he's
He was always a big jock, pretty boy, muscle man in the comics, and then he became a soldier. The kid was rich, but he just didn't have that Flash Thompson swag that I was looking for. So yeah, I would recast that for sure.
And he was a Spider-Man stan at one point. In the night, he loved Spider-Man at one point. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that with him. Nobody really jumps out.
I don't have an actor I would put there. I would just recast him to somebody completely different. Now I would this guy I would go cliche. It would be blonde and tall, blue eyed. I would go with the whole cliche with that one. But
Yeah. I think he could be that particular actor would be used so much better someplace else than
mm-hmm.
Flash Thompson. Period. Robert, what do you got?
I don't know, honestly. We're definitely running out of some of the top billing actors, because Marvel and DC have soaked up so many of them at this point, and
Yeah.
having that question popped out on the spot. If I could think of just a couple characters that they haven't even announced yet, like I was trying to think of like who could be Ted Kord, that Blue Beetle, but I guess they've already cast Jason Sudeikis as him in the Blue Beetle movie. So
Have they cast Zatanna yet?
I don't know.
See,
I don't think
that
so.
wow. Yeah, that'd be tough because she has to be. I mean, I know in the book she's a very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing character. So that'd
I
be.
do like the idea of the actress in Prey being X-23, an adult version of her.
Yes.
I've
I
seen
like that.
that, and she looks like she could do it.
Yeah, yeah. She
She
has
even
this
looks
size
like
and height.
the little girl from Logan. Even looks like they would cast her as the younger version of that particular actress now. That they have so much in common with the way their faces put together and their complexions.
I agree. I think she'd be a good X-23. I think she would. And I know we talked about, Blue Marvel is of course one of our favorite characters overall on the panel. And I looking at I think it's I don't want to Lazaro Alonso from he was Mother's Milk on The Boys.
Hmm.
Unless they cast um, Blue Marvel real soon, this cat's 48 years old. Unless they cast this movie real soon, I don't think I think he's probably gonna. I hate to say he's gonna age out because he's not gonna have a good long run on it.
Wow, Laz is 48.
Yeah,
Man, looks good.
Blue Marvel's got the gray temples, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But
Yeah, I got a question. You want Blue Marvel with the cape or Blue Marvel in the Reed Richards vest and
with the
the
vest,
Ultimates? Yeah,
and
because that
the fat collar, I wouldn't.
that
I wouldn't know.
looking all and the Ultimates, like I liked it, but it just made me like it got a chuckle out of me. He
The
totally
puffy
ditched the
vest,
cape. Yeah,
got the puffy vest and the wheat Tims. Yeah,
yeah, they were definitely on some Fantastic Four vibes in that book.
yeah. I mean, there's so many young and up and coming actors that hopefully they can the MCU and hopefully the DC universe can tap into these guys and find some more diamonds in the rough, man. Because all the characters and all the actors that came out of the MCU and came out of the DC universe were, still fresh faced young kids whenever, I mean, for the most part. They were fairly fresh actors that had a bunch of movies, but they didn't really have that one breakout role until they hit the big screen wearing a spangled suit or a suit of armor.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
agreed.
Figure it out. Always. Is that it, Tosh? Is that all of them?
Yep, that is all the questions we have
That's
for
the
this
last
week.
one.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, group members. Man, we love this part. Adds a little bit of spice to the show and lets us freestyle and just say whatever the hell we want to at certain points. So we appreciate it. Please continue to contribute. Quincy is going to continue to post the questions every week on what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? It was Wednesday.
Thursday.
Thursday that you posted it up.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely
Maybe.
check us out. Check it out. So pretty much freestyle time. Anything you want to throw out in the universe?
Me.
Tosh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So this week I watched a show on Amazon Prime called Paper Girls. It
Ooh.
is based off of a comic book series. I mean, I'm probably not going to pronounce his name right now, so I apologize. It's written by Brian K. Vaughan. He's a American comic book writer which I didn't know his name until now, and I looked up. He did the Runaways comic, the Marvel Runaways. He wrote that, and apparently he's done the TV show Lost.
Hmm.
So it was a show based off of his comic. The show is 8 episodes long, and it's pretty much about these four girls in 1988. They are, I think they said they're about 12 years old.
You're 12, yeah.
Yeah, they're 12. And they're doing their morning paper route the day after Halloween. They call it Hell Day. And all of a sudden, there's this really bright purple light in the sky, and it's basically a time travel kind of a show. So these four girls get caught up in a time traveling war between two factions without meaning to. They just happen to be in the crossfires of one team trying to flee, and they get teleported to 2019. And they come across one of the characters' adult selves. And so the show so far is just exploring how these girls are trying to get back to their time. The show ended on a cliffhanger as if they're trying to have a season two. I thought it would be kind of concise in these 8 episodes because they're roughly 45 minutes to an hour. The actresses did a very good job. I'm not familiar with any of these young ladies, so to me, it's almost like I got a sense of just fresh actresses. It's not someone I've seen in a previous work, and all I see is just that, you know, Bob from that show or, whoever.
Yeah.
The one person who I did know and recognize in the show is Ali Wong. She's an actress, a comedian, excuse me. Um, I
I've watched
really
her.
she was in Always Be My Maybe on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
She had what, 2 stand-ups when she was
2
pregnant, right?
stand-ups. Yeah, I watched.
Yes.
That's why I know her.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was an American mom
Yeah.
too, American housewife,
Yeah.
I think, or something like that.
Yeah, she actually does very good acting in this show.
Mhm.
I sometimes it's hard for me to see comedians take on acting roles, but she actually did very well. Um, could I recommend this show? It's hard for me to, only because it's very slow paced and there's not a lot of action. I
Yeah.
will be honest, it's not a lot of action. So um it's if you're curious, check it out. It wasn't bad. It was just not action heavy. You know,
Yeah.
it's a story about girls outside of time and running into their future selves and basically coming to terms with how their future turns out, for the better or for worse.
I watched a few episodes of it and I fell asleep. Not saying that it was bad. I mean, it's a combination of me being tired, but also the fact that it didn't really grab a hold of me. It was a great
Mhm.
story. It was very dramatic, and if you were to watch it, like going into not knowing that it was based off of a comic book, you would never put two and two together. It was time
Mhm.
travel. It was basically like a quote unquote coming of age story. It wasn't
Mhm.
bad, but it didn't really grip me the way that I thought it would. But some of the
Yeah.
characters were a little over the top. I like the bad girl whose brother turned out to be a doctor.
Oh,
Her character,
Mac.
yeah, her
Yeah.
character at the beginning, I just wanted to punch her in the face. But she has a damaged past. But overall, the show wasn't bad to the point to where I watched it. But it just honestly was just the pacing was just bad for me.
Yeah. It might put Mike to sleep. I'm
It
gonna
would
be
put
honest,
Mike to
Mike.
sleep.
You would go to sleep. I wouldn't recommend it for you. But for those who enjoy a slower paced show, I would say give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Oh man, universal information. Anyone throw out there some good vibes? Anything? No?
After one of our tangents we had the other week about Alan Tudyk's Two Dicks, I started watching Resident Alien because Megan had mentioned it, and it's actually really good.
Oh,
The guy is a Juilliard trained actor, and he is just being the goofiest alien trying to act like a human in this small little Colorado town, and it's really really funny.
I want to
Um,
check it out now.
I want to the thing about it though is that so they kind of established that there's a small percentage of people that can see him because he kind of takes human form, but there's a small percentage of people that can see him in his alien form, and they're like to
Mm-hmm.
these two little kids. But the makeup effect that they do for the alien is so good, like it gesticulates and it emotes so well that I want to give
Okay.
major props to the costuming department because it's really, I mean, this is like Star Trek movie level of special effects for the alien costume. It's really good.
Oh, I'll definitely. I'm looking it
But
up
yeah,
right now.
it's on Sci-Fi and Peacock. We were
Okay.
watching it on Peacock because I think you have to have a cable subscription to watch things on Sci-Fi right now.
Don't need that. Never. And Peacock's free, right?
I think
Is
I'm
so.
not
Peacock?
sure. I
Okay.
can't remember because we have commercials, so maybe we have the free version. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a paid and free version, I believe.
All right. Well, shoot. Cool. Definitely add to the list of things that I will want to get to. Definitely. Mike, anything? I know you're not caught up. I know you're in school, man. I know comics are taking a back seat with you right now.
Right now, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on with me that I need to get out there. No, no, I plan on seeing Dragon Ball Super. I do plan on seeing that. My son is driving me crazy to see it. I wanted to see it either way myself, but
Yes. Do
uh,
it.
I'm going to see it. I promise y'all to see it either probably next weekend. I won't see it this weekend because I got homework due by Sunday night, but I'll see it next week for sure.
Dig it.
My son has been like
Dig.
I said, he's driving me crazy. He's ready to go see it. So
All right. Let us know. Please let us know what you think, man. Quincy, what you got, man? Anything you want to throw out there?
I got nothing. New season of Destiny next Tuesday. It's been
Ooh, bonk,
quite. Can't wait for that.
bonk,
Um,
Isn't
bonk.
there a showcase coming soon too?
yeah, next week,
There you
and I
go.
can't wait. So, um, this last season was okay, um, but looking forward to the last to this next season, they're going to finish upgrading the arc subclass with the rest of them, so everything will be um, up to date. Hunters will get some new specials, much needed specials. I can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Okay, I'm looking one thing up. Where is it? Ring of Power. Trying to. When does this come out?
I just saw a commercial just now as we were talking. It just on History Channel just showed a commercial for it.
When does it come out? Release date September 2nd. All right, cool. We got time.
I feel like there's
We
been a
got
lot
time.
of dueling ads between that and the Game of Thrones prequel. It's like every other ad, it's one or the other. I watch YouTube. I listen to like streamers while I'm at work, just kind of listen to them talk. And the commercials that they have on there is like one of them will be Wing of Power and the next one will be the whatever the dragon one is.
They're
Lord of
going
the
for the same
Rings.
demographic, definitely.
Yeah.
Did
The
that
sword
did
and
that
sorcery
drop?
crowd.
Did that drop
No.
yet? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Nope. I was trying to look up a calendar to see what was going to come out in the next 10 calendar days. I don't know what's going to happen. Holy smokes. September is upon us.
It is. It is.
Wow.
Hey Q, you asked me about the King Conan. What you never answered the question. Did you want to animate it or what did it?
Well, it was something you said on last week's podcast. With the window closing on Arnold getting older,
Uh huh.
and maybe if he can't do it physically, then they do it animated. And then I started thinking about Schwarzenegger doing voiceover work, and I was like, I don't know how well that would translate for
I
him,
can
but
say it's not Arnold to me at this point. He wants to do it. He has stated several times he wants to do it, but as of right now, it still ain't important if he does it or not. I just want the movie. If they do it with him, I'm fine. If they do it without him, I'm fine. Just give
hmm
me the damn movie. I've been waiting for it since the '80s. Just
It's a long time.
he isn't going to make or break it either way for me. I just want the movie.
I think it's needed. Not a big as big a Conan fan as you and Jr. But that second Conan movie like had one of the ended with one of the bigger cliffhangers a movie can ever end with him sitting on the throne.
The first one
You
ended the
know,
same way. That's how
yeah.
I can't let
So
nobody say they've been teasing this, this jeweled crown forever. And give me the damn movie. I
yeah,
just want my
they
movie.
got to do that.
They had a working title one time. What was it? King Conan Crown of Iron, and that was like early 2000s. They've been teasing this movie for over 30 years. Give me this movie.
Oh, House of Dragons. Sorry. I just had
Hmm.
a House of Dragons drops on the 21st. So 2 days from now, we can talk about that
Okay.
future episodes.
Is it gonna be
So
one
yeah.
at a time, or is it a whole bench thing?
H-
From what I'm
HBO's been
seeing,
weird with that. Yeah.
it shows one at a time.
Good.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
can
going to
keep
be
up with it then.
episodic. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see that. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Hey
If
Tosh,
you work,
Did you watch Sandman?
No.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Mike said it's gonna put you to sleep. But
Well,
I liked it.
it was all right. It didn't put me to
She
sleep.
heard the
I
episode.
made it through the whole thing, but it didn't. It wasn't blowing me away like it did everybody else.
Yeah.
It was all right.
House of Dragons. We'll talk about that next week. I'm sure. Blah blah. English, please. I'm pretty sure Megan's gonna like soak that one up too whenever she wakes up from her coma nap.
Now I'm gonna watch
So
it. I like Game of Thrones, so I'm definitely gonna watch it.
heck yeah. But man, I think that is it. We'll put a nice little bow on this one for this week. Really enjoyed the panel. Really enjoyed you guys listening. Like I said, if you are with the group, please pay attention to the weekly post for the questions, and we'd love to read them out. If you're not part of the group, go ahead and look us up on Facebook, Multiverse Unlimited on Facebook, and look us up on Instagram, Multiverse Unlimited on Instagram also. And if you ever decide you want to shoot us an email and you have the time to type out the whole email address, it is multiverseunlimitedpodcast@gmail.com. Tasha tends to that inbox, and so please feel free to
Yes.
email us. We'd love to hear from you. So I guess until next time we talk to you, this is the Multiverse Unlimited podcast crew: Cosmic Lou, QP the Source, Tosh the Anime Queen, Mike Jones, Mr. Mutant himself, and that one guy Rob. Please remember, be kind to all people you meet because you have no idea what they're going through. So until next time, talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Read
Bye
a comic.
bye.
Read a comic.
Please read the comment.